Have you got an automatic transmission that you're looking to get that little bit more performance out of, make it last a little bit longer and also feel and shift a lot nicer while driving? Well, follow along for this video and I'll show you one of the best bang for buck mods that you can do to your automatic transmission that I think most would benefit from. Alright, so you obviously clicked on this video because you're either following along for this build or maybe, like I've sort of stated, that you got an automatic transmission that you're looking to get some more out of. Well, sitting in front of me is my Allison 1000 that is going into the Duramax Patrol, which is hanging in the air just behind me. But it's not going to be just based on the Allison, and this will work for a lot of transmissions out there. So what are we doing today? Well, we're going to get in and actually do some modifications to the valve body. And don't let that scare you, because I know a lot of people, as soon as they hear something like that, think they've got to disassemble their entire transmission to get in and do something. But honestly, after getting over the first few little bolts, it really is a breeze to get in and actually do this job. So I'll show you what exactly is done and how to do it, so you guys can do it at home in your driveway. So starting off, you're going to need to remove your oil pan. Now there's a heap of bolts that go around the outside, and usually they're a 6mm with a 10mm head. Once you've taken those out, then it's as simple as getting in and actually removing the oil filter. Before you even think about removing the valve body though, you do need to get in and remove the wiring harness, and there's usually several clips and plugs in there for all of the solenoids and sensors. So get in and get that out of the way so none of them get damaged. Now that that's out the way, the only thing that you will have to remove is the little shift detent spring, which I have already done, and I'm just showing that to you right now. The next thing you really want to do is probably find a diagram of your valve body to work out what bolts need to be removed. Now, I did actually go through and try and find one for this, so if I have found it, I'll stick it up on the screen right now, but every transmission is different. Also, a bit of a side note, all the bolts are the same length. I'm just going to turn this over now. Alright, so now that we've got that all done, I'm going to tip all this oil out, get rid of that, and we can get pretty much into cleaning this up. Moving on to actually getting in and taking the solenoids out now. So I thought I'd just pause the video here and actually add in a little bit more information. Once we've split the valve body open, as you would have seen from the last clip, it's as simple as removing the retainer plate and getting the electronic valves out of the way in the top right hand corner. Once you've done that, you then need to remove all the contents from behind those, and keep in mind half of this will be getting replaced with the new kit. Make sure you pay close attention to your instructions for what needs to be replaced. So let's continue on. These are the two solenoids, and you need to make sure you know where these go. There's a brown one and there's a black one. So they kind of look a little bit both black, but there is a brown one here. It's not as dark. So if I'm looking at it from this angle, the brown one's on the left, black one's on the right. You can't mess those up, they are different. Once you take this plate off, they will pop out. And then you've also got two springs here, and there's two little cups in the bottom. You need to get those out, and then pretty much once you've done that, you should be able to slide out the rest of the stuff inside. I'm going to stand this upright like that, and I'm going to open up the first bag. I'm going to open that up, tip it out, and the little ball went already flying, but that's all right. Now, need tiny hands, that's for sure. The little detent ball, which goes inside the valve first, followed by the spring, and then you've got the bigger orange spring that goes around the outside of it. So I've got a little bit of Vaseline I'm just going to put on the end of it, the tiniest bit of this, and it's just to hold in the little ball so it doesn't come flying back out. Also try not to drop it on the floor while I'm doing this. Just the spring, so that's how it's going to look. You're going to have the spring poking out the end, and when this goes down inside, you're obviously going to have the spring pressure, and it's going to hold it like that. Maybe don't do that, just in case the spring flies out. Don't need this anymore, and you don't need this anymore. So we're going to put this to the side, otherwise I'm going to freak out later when I find it and be like, where did that go? The same thing with the opposite side, exact same lineup, ball on the inside, little spring over the top of that, followed by the big spring that goes up inside, and then we're going to move on to installing the valves and stuff in the end of it. So this is the plate just here. As you can see, that's the hole there, and that is the hole just there that we need to drill out. It's one done. On to the next one. There you go. Alright. And then what we're going to do is come through from the back as well and just make sure there's no metal burrs still left inside. And I'm going to go and grab a file and make sure that there's no steel pieces or debris left on the actual plate that are going to flake off, because you don't want that going through your valve body. We're going to drop this center plate on now. It is located on a couple of dowels, so you can't really mess up where it goes. There we go. There's 1, 2 and 3 and 4. So that's on there now, and what we're going to do is then put this and turn it over onto this section and flip the whole lot over. Alright, now that we've done that, we'll turn this over, holding it together, just like that. And we'll put a couple of the bolts in it to pretty much start holding things where they need to be. And remember, there is the one gold anodized bolt that goes in the top corner of this as well. The red will go right down, because we only want this snug, like that, and we're going to torque all these after. Alright, so now that we've got those couples snugged down, we can actually start installing these upper valves. The upper solenoids. And remember, the black one goes to the outside when you've got it facing like this, and the tan or brown one goes to the inside. So just make sure you guys remember that, because like I think I've mentioned, they are different. So we'll get that one situated in. Same with that one. And once we've done that, we also want to drop in these little cups and the springs. They go back in the top. And then finally, just as you're putting them in, give them a little bit of a push. And that is going to hold everything in place. You should be able to turn still. But yeah, that'll hold everything in place, and then we'll get a bolt straight into it to completely hold it down. Alright. Again guys, just make sure that they are sitting in nicely. You should still be able to turn them slightly until we completely torque it down. That's just to make sure it hasn't cocked over or locked up. But now that we've done that, we're going to get to putting all this back together. Probably won't record most of it. It's pretty much just this and this bit here, and a couple of the other bits and pieces. But once I've put this back together, we'll come back and I'll install it in the transmission. Okay, so now that we've put this valve body back together, what we're going to be doing is getting our torque wrench and actually going over. Now the specs call for, just have a look, 12 Newton meters or 9 foot-pounds. So we've got it on 9 foot-pounds at the moment. So I'm going to go and torque all these bolts up and get ready to install it back in the transmission. Alright, so now that we've done that, what we're going to do is pretty much clean up everything and get ready to put it back in the bottom of the transmission. Okay, so back down on the floor, going to install this valve body back in, and there's pretty much, it's very simple to install, but you just need to do one little thing and make sure you get this pin lined up with the selector. So I'm going to sort that out now, and then we can pretty much, once that's in, it just sort of tucks in and pushes in flush with it. So I'll get that sorted out and show you guys how it's done. So we've finally got that sitting in place. It was a little bit more of a mission than I was hoping for, but we got there in the end. So we're going to just install a couple of bolts hold this in place. We've also still got to install is that little stop bracket, which holds like that. So we'll do that last, but I'll also get the wiring harness. Now this is a little bit loose, and I'll poke the wiring harness up in as well. I want to make sure that this is all clean. Grab the camera. Well, I want to make sure all this is clean around the top here, that nothing's going to fall in, and when the wiring harness goes inside, we definitely want to hear a good click from all the pins that actually hold it in. If you've got any broken ones, it's probably best just to replace them, because you don't want this to leak, and you also don't want them to push back through when you go to hook your connector and stuff up. We've now got that valve body sort of sitting in place. We've put all the bolts back in. We're just about to torque them up. Exact same torque setting for the ones that hold them in as well. We've also poked in the new wiring harness, so that's all the little prongs are nice and tight. I usually give them a bit of a smack down, and that proves to you sort of that it is in there nicely, and you don't have to stress about it. So the next thing we're going to do is get all this wiring plumbed up into its correct spots. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's not really anywhere else it can go. So we'll do that. I don't know if I'll record it, and I'm just going to, like I said, torque all the rest of the bolts up. So we'll come back and I'll show you the end result in just a second. Alright, so that's the valve body completely installed. We've just put this little bracket back on as well. Same torque spec for the two little 8mm bolts that are down there, and it just slots into this gear here and the little sensor on the side. So that all works. Besides that, the new wiring harness is on. It's looking good. This is nice and secure up the top here, as I mentioned just before. So we're going to throw the pan back on, but I'm going to put the pan on, only just secure it for the moment. I'm waiting for a new gasket, so that should be here in a couple of days. Alright, so as you can see, it's a pretty simple process to actually get in and get done, and the biggest part that you're going to need to worry about is making sure that you get the valves and springs in the right order, and also making sure you drill out the right holes. With the instructions that this kit comes with, that was perfectly easy to figure out, and I don't think you can really make a mistake if you pay close attention. One other thing is that this is definitely going to help with the life of your transmission, giving you a nice firm shift, and also help out with the drivability. I know a lot of transmissions are quite slow when shifting, and it makes the drivability honestly feel quite lazy and underwhelming. But with a nice shifting transmission, you're going to get that drivability that you really love and that you're expecting to get out of that auto. So all around, if I wasn't recording, I would probably have done this job in around about 2 hours, give or take. The hardest part is obviously going to be removal and installation of the valve body, and making sure that you get not only the shift pin in the right location, but just getting everything lined back up. And make sure you guys torque all those bolts down and double check them before installing it. The last thing you want is your valve body to come apart, or maybe have a bolt drop into the bottom and go throughout your transmission and destroy it. It's definitely something that I suggest double checking again and again. Anyway guys, this is going to be it for this particular video. I will be doing another video on the transmission. As you have obviously seen, the back half of the transmission is off, and that is more to do with the conversion side of things. But if you do want to follow along for the build, make sure you are subscribed and you have hit that like button, because it really helps make these videos go a lot further, and I really appreciate all the support. And even if you want to follow along, we're always doing something new on the channel as well, not just this build. We've got the Partners Navara that needs a bit of work doing on it very shortly, so we'll probably show you how to do a couple of things on that, as well as other cars that are consistently coming and going on the channel. And if you jump back and see some of the previous videos, you'll probably notice that is quite a regular thing to happen. Again guys, thanks for all the support, and I'll catch everybody in the next video.